Hello, loved ones. Thank you for joining us today. And if you're new to the channel, then welcome to the family. Today, we will be reviewing Married at First Sight Season 14, Episode 6. We will have a special guest with us today, John Solomon, who's been married more than 32 years. Make sure your opinion counts by sounding out in the comment section below. Coming right up. Welcome to Fueled by Intentions, where we talk about faith, family, finances, fitness, and fun. Sponsored by Bynum's Business Solutions, where the right fit is made simple. We specialize in tips, tools, and strategies designed to help you achieve your financial health so that you can take control of how you spend your money so that you can spend more time with your family, friends, and doing the things you love. So let's jump right into the video. Hello, family. Today we have a special guest, and it is John Solomon. We are co-teachers at our church. We teach the youth ministry, and he has been married for more than 32 years. Welcome, John. Thank you so much for being here with me today.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
So let's get right on into the episode. And what we do here is first, we look at the name of the episode. And this episode was called The Dark Side of the Honeymoon. So do you think that the name of the episode, do you think it capitalized on what we actually saw? Did we see the dark side of the honeymoon? Or what do you think about the title as it relates to the episode?
You know, I think it basically expresses maybe one couple leans more toward one couple in particular than all the couples as a group. When they use that term, the dark side of the honeymoon. So I can see if you looked at one couple, but as you looked at most of the couples as a group, I don't think that really applies.
I must agree. I agree. I think that is only applied to Alyssa and Chris. The other ones, I think that they had a lot of resolutions. I think that they had some great conversations. And if they take what they did there home and implement the things that they said into their marriage, that it would really let a lot of them go further. So let's just jump into our first couple. So our first couple is Lindsay and Mark. And last time when we left off, they had left off on this huge fight. So now we see them waking up in the morning together, all lovey-dovey. And then we see them, how they resolve their conflict. So what did you think about their interaction and how they resolved their conflict?
I think that was nice. And I think what it is even though Lindsay could be somewhat temperamental, I think she knows Mark has a beautiful heart, and she fell in love with that. I really think that she's in love with that. And although she can go through a temper tantrum, she will get over it. And she knows when she looks at him, and if he says anything that is wrong, it's not out of malice. So because of that, I think that they were able, she was able to reel it back in and go, and they had their own discussion and go and do some fun activities. And then she fell right back in love like she was in the beginning. So I think that worked out.
I wonder who pursued who, because they actually talked in the lobby, and we know that Mark left out. And he made the comment that an hour after they had the conflict that they were already in resolution mode. So I'm wondering if after she took her shower or whatever, if she went looking for him, and then when she found him downstairs, then they just stayed down there and had their conversation. One thing that I will say about Lindsay is, personally, I believe that Lindsay is used to conflict. I don't think Mark is used to conflict, but I think Lindsay is used to conflict. And people who are used to conflict, they resolve conflict easily. People who are not used to conflict, it takes them a little more time because this is something new for them. So I think that this is like, okay, you have a conflict, you make up. And she even made a comment about, about conflict is the way to intimacy, which I have been in marriage counseling before, and they do say that. They say conflict is the door to intimacy, because when you have conflict, that's when you get to really see where the rubber meets the road, and how you guys interact with each other, and being able to resolve that around. So I'm not going to say most because I haven't been to a lot, but some marriage counselors, they say that conflict is the door to intimacy, because intimacy is into me, you see. That's when you really see the deepest part of me. So I really thought it was great that they resolved it quickly. The next thing we see that I'm sure both of us can appreciate is we see them praying over their relationship, basically, at breakfast, and Mark initiated that prayer. What did you think about that entire interaction?
I loved it. And I'll tell you what I loved about that more than anything. The man initiated it. Now, anyone could have initiated it, but the Bible tells us that we're supposed to be the men, that we're supposed to be the priest in the home. And the fact that he initiated it spoke volumes about it. And I think it really got to her. So now she has a leader, and he even asked her, it seems to be the first time that they talked about their their Christian or religious relationship, and he wanted to ask her. He said, this is the first time it's coming up. I want to find out, how do you feel about that and stuff like that. So I think, all kudos to Mark.
I actually really did like that he said after that, he said, what is your, I know we just prayed, but what is your belief about church and things like that? Because some people assume just because you pray over a meal or pray, like you're all in. Although I don't feel like she really answered what her foundational belief as a Christian was. And I don't think that he answered at all about what his beliefs were. He more so listened to her. Then they talked about how they would raise their kids. And then, they kind of ended the conversation there, but they may not have shown all of the conversation either. So they may have went more into depth, but I did like that they at least had the conversation, and that they got each other's perspective on what they felt about that. Awesome. The next thing we saw from Lindsey and Mark was them talking about his landlord, and how the landlord was calling like all times of the night, all time of the day, just like they just showed the phone just ringing. And it's so cute how production does it, because they show down at the bottom, second day, third day, at night, still calling. They're walking down the hall, still calling. And it's interesting because they showed the landlord at the wedding. Lindsey said, is that your mom? And he said, no, that's my landlord. So she was at the wedding and everything. What did you think about that? And while we're on this subject, him having bed bugs in his house. I don't even know how you get bed bugs. I did look them up on the internet and they look very scary. So what did you think about that? The landlord, she changed his rent, sent him another lease, told him to sign it. Does that mean he's on month to month? Because how can you just change a lease in the middle of a vacation? If I've already signed something, I didn't know how she could change. And he'd been having the 3 cats, so I didn't know why that, or maybe the landlord didn't know. What did you think about that whole landlord calling, changing the lease, and the bed bugs?
One, I mean, when I think about the cats, maybe the cats brought the bed bugs, maybe that's why the landlord said, okay, no more cats. And then the fact that she was calling him so much, and what type of relationship they had, I think that it's going to be good in terms of what Lindsey said. Okay, when Lindsey said, no, enough, we're not going to have this. I think that Mark is somewhat of a pushover, and she sees where he's been taken advantage of, and she's not going to have it. So there's going to be a new sheriff in town in terms of, no, my husband is not going to respond to you the way that he's been responding to you in the past. So I think that's going to be great for Mark. I really do.
I do like that Lindsey kind of took control and was like, you're going to move out. This is what we're going to do on Monday. But what it really did for me was, I'm like, okay, Mark, here you go. The pot calling the kettle black. because,
Yes.
you know, he is all Lindsey, she's all hyperactive, and Lindsey's issue is conflict. So now we see you got your own issues going on. Like, you got issues with relationships. So if you want, you know, I always say people can't change overnight, you know, but he act like he didn't have nothing. I don't have any baggage that I'm bringing. And you're bringing this baggage. Your daddy already just said it. Your mama already had conflict with you. Your friends already gave me a no button. And now we see that he is carrying his own baggage too. So I feel like that evened the playing field between him and Lindsey in terms of, you know, we're all both gonna have to adjust to some things, and you're not Mr. Perfect. They go to a massage and then they go fly kites. I thought the massage was really cute. That was very relaxing. I feel like he needed.
Oh, that was good. And I think the kite flying was actually Lindsey's idea.
Okay.
And she was thrilled that he went and he did it and he enjoyed it. Now, I actually think that they're going to make it. So I think they're going to make it.
But one thing I thought was so cute, I think it was when they were on their way to the massage. They were skipping, like they were skipping together, you know, just like on the little.
Yes,
and I love, I mean, like, I think that is when you're becoming friends. You know, when you can just do silly stuff together. So I thought that was I just love to see them. I'm like, that's such a kid thing, but they look like they were having a good time, just kind of letting loose and enjoying each other. And I thought that was a great moment.
And you know what? I think it's evident when both parties are in it for the same reason. I mean, they're looking for a life partner. Okay, they're looking for a life partner. And when you look at Mark and basically you look at what he said he wanted in the beginning, and you look at Lindsey, where Lindsey said, I don't care how they look, I don't care, you know, how tall they are, I don't care how short they are. Hey, I don't care. I'm looking for love. You know, I'm looking. So she didn't put any parameters on that because she said, hey, I'm just looking for love. So when you're that open, but you're looking for the right thing, it shows. You're not nitpicky trying to, no, it shows. No, you're looking for the same thing, and you're willing to give it time. You're willing to work on it because you're looking for something of value.
And I think the last thing that we saw from Lindsey and Mark is we saw Lindsey being very quiet around ALYSSA, even though ALYSSA called her out and told her, don't look like that while I'm talking. And then we saw Mark appreciate that and give her a compliment for staying out of it. And I think that that's important because I feel like you should always reinforce the behavior that you want. And I felt like that's what he was doing. He was reinforcing, hey, this is really what I want you, because he's been telling her, look, be amenable as possible. Don't be getting into this, I don't like these conflicts. And I really like that he let her know you did a great job.
Yeah, and she said, I even had to look the other way. I couldn't let her see because she says everything, you know, everything shows on her, you know, on her face and everything. She said she had to look the other way. And then when ALYSSA called her out, she said, no, I didn't say anything. She had to look the other way. So no, she made a conscious effort of doing that. And especially if somebody calls Lindsey's out, and Lindsey's used to conflict. So, you know, good weather. He said, oh, you want to come? Oh, okay, I'll bring it. But that she did not, truly showed that she was honoring her husband's request.
Yeah.
And I thought that was beautiful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I too think that they're going to make it. They seem like a really beautiful couple in terms of just how they interact with one another. All right. So we'll go to OLAJAWON and KATINA. And then we see them go on their outing to ride horses.
Well, you know, when I look at OLAJAWON and we think about this person and you look at his history and you're saying, hey, you know what? I don't know if she's going to be able to reel him back in, because this guy, I don't think he's I don't think he can change, or he welcomes change easily. Okay. Mm-hmm. But one thing I have to say about him, I remember the gym episode and how he was at the gym with her and stretching her beyond her limits, and And then I see with the horseback riding episode, how he pushed her out of her comfort zone and stuff like that. And I said, you know what? This guy is selfish. He's starting to show his selfish side, and he thinks everything is just about him. But then I saw a change. I saw him say, you know what? I understand that I pushed my wife out of her comfort zone on the horse and stuff like that. And I'm going to be more respectful than that in the future. So, and I think OLAJAWON, I think he's a quick learner now. He recognizes when he's overstepped his bounds, and he knows that he has the love of his life in front of him. And he doesn't mind telling you that she's the love of his life in front of him. He knows that he has her in front of him. And he's starting to respect her value, her wishes, her heart. He's starting to guard her heart. So I think he's learning.
I felt like that OLAJAWON went through a transformation, because when I saw them at that horseback ride, I was so mad at him, because I was mad at him when he was at the gym. So of course I'm mad at him. I'm like, she is like, listen, she is scared, and an animal, I've been horseback riding once or twice maybe, and those horses are big. And it is scary, and it is very intimidating. And when they did that big wide eye view, yes, I didn't see nobody around them. I didn't see the trainer. Like, where's the trainer? Where's the person? Yeah. Like when we were horseback riding, the people stayed with us the whole time, but they went way back. And I'm like, I don't see this horse trainer. So I thought he was very mean and disrespectful. And when he went into his interview and he was like, well, I want to be adventurous and I'm not going to let my wife, I'm like, oh no, yes, he didn't. Oh, I was so mad at him. And and then I saw him when he was with Michael and JASMINA, he was kind of changing. He was like, well, I might be too hard on her, but he was still like, I'm going to push my wife, Yes. But then once he made it to dinner, he was like, you know what? I need to learn how to step back. And and I think the thing about he doesn't realize is that she is so willing. She was excited about doing, and I didn't like when he said, well, she's taking away some of my joy. She's taking some of the positives out of it. I'm like, she was excited in the morning. She was willing to do it, but I love how she handles him. I like that she does speak up to her, and she's like, oh, like you could tell she's like, I wanted to kill you, and I like that she is speaking up for herself, but she's doing it in a very calm, way. And I feel like she even appreciated him. Like, I know what you're doing. You're trying to help me. You're trying to get me out of my comfort zone, but you also need to know when to push and when I've had enough. And, the fear in me, that was the fear in me talking. So I love that they are able to communicate about it. And I love that they're able to communicate about it right after it happens.
Yes.
Right after they sat down still at the place.
Yes.
And talked immediately and talked about the incident. And although it took him a little time to evolve, a day or maybe not even a day, I don't remember, but I loved it. I'm like, just continue to communicate. And I love that on the first episode, I think I called OLAJAWON immature and childish. I've apologized to him several times. So OLAJAWON, if you are watching, I apologize again. You are coming into your own maturity. And I'm sure I'm old enough to be your mom, so I'm very proud of you. I do like that KATINA allows him to be himself, because even when they were interacting with JASMINA and Michael, and she said, I wonder, is there fish in the water? And he made that smart comment, See, to me, I would have been like, I know you didn't talk to me like that, but she just be like, like kind of like that's him, like she's not offended by it. Right. And I like that because I feel like in order to really, you got to accept the core of who the person is. Not to say you can't ask for any changes, but the core of who the person is, she seems like she can really deal with it.
And you know what? The more I get to see Katina, the more I appreciate the type of woman she is. Mm-hmm. She is a strong woman, and she knows what she wants, and she knows her value. And I think she knows her value, and I like. She's a very good communicator, and she knows how to get her point across effectively. So no, I think he knows that he's with a real woman there. He knows he has a gem, so he doesn't want to mess that up.
Yes. The next thing I think we see from them is their discussion in the group in terms of how many children they wanted to have. So they got it down. In this episode, you can tell that JASMINA, she plays spades, because KATINA said 2, maybe 3, and JASMINA said that's 2 and a possible. That's spades. That is, hey, I played spades growing up all the time. I'm like,
you're right.
I know I got me a partner. If they say who you want, I'm gonna say JASMINA, because she knows something about spades.
That's right. I agree with you. But no, that was an interesting conversation. But it was good because you found out where everyone was on the child issue.
Yeah.
So,
No,
good.
And then we saw OLAJAWON and KATINA, and then we saw OLAJAWON in his cameo, them discussing what they thought about the meal and everybody's conversation. And OLAJAWON, his passion, oh my God, I wish I could watch that episode with ALYSSA for her to see the passion of OLAJAWON, because he went all in. If you want somebody to love, he embarrassed himself to proclaim his love for you. That is what you're like, oh my God, preach it. He was so passionate about that interaction. And I actually didn't think that Chris embarrassed himself. From a man's perspective, did you feel like he embarrassed himself? No,
I thought that Chris, it wasn't an embarrassment right there. I think that Chris basically let everyone know and let ALYSSA know specifically how he felt in the depths that he was willing to go for their relationship. So for him, and one thing about Elijah and what he said is, he said, I've never in my whole life seen a man do that. He said that man, Elijah gave Chris the utmost respect.
Yes.
The utmost respect.
Yes.
You know, and it was funny because not KATINA, but JASMINA said, oh no, ALYSSA's already checked out.
Yes.
JASMINA said, and even when KATINA and JASMINA spoke to ALYSSA privately.
Yes.
Okay, and think about how good KATINA was as she expressed the situation to ALYSSA.
Yes.
And told her about the different possibilities there.
Yes. I thought the word usage that she used there, for one thing, I think that KATINA is quiet, but when I see the episodes, I'm thinking not, because even in that conversation, JASMINA pretty much didn't say anything.
No, she just observed.
Yeah, and KATINA was asking the question. She was like, well, I think she's like, and I like how she phrases it. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
I don't think that you like how he looks. And ALYSSA didn't correct her, but she didn't deny it either. And right. I love what she said. She said, it seems like you took what they said and you put it into your heart and you believed it when you should have took it and put it into your back pocket. Oh, yes. I was like, oh my, I love a word picture. Oh, that was good.
And you know what? I thought that was huge because I've seen other marriage at first sight couples in the past who did that same thing, and they let what the friends say affect the relationship without giving the the spouse the opportunity to even explain. And so I said that's absolutely right, because since they're your friends, believe it or not, even though they're your friends, they don't know you in a intimate setting.
Yes.
Okay? How you present yourself to them and how you present yourself to your spouse or your loved one could be completely different.
Yes. All right. Yes. So Noe and Steve, we see them in the morning. They indicate that they're getting ready to go to the rainforest. And I think the first interaction we see with them is at the rainforest. So what was your impression or thoughts about them at the rainforest?
Well, it was interesting to me because we already know that Steve is an outdoorsman. And Noemi, she's not, you know, she's sort of like a city girl. She's not used to that. So Steve, he of course had his reservations about her on that, because he wants a person that he could kick it with, you know, during the outdoor stuff. And she indicated to him that, no, I don't go camping, I don't do this, I don't do that. So to see her in the rainforest and for her to just try, you know, to do some things that he knew was out of her comfort zone. I think that he recognized that. I know that she's not that type of girl, but I appreciate the fact that she would try some of the stuff that I really enjoy and roll with it.
Well, I was mad at Steve because I hate for someone, which is the same thing that OLAJAWON did. I hate for people to dictate how you want me to respond. So he was like, well, I was a little disappointed because she was scared to do this. So what? She's doing it. She's out here. She's doing it. So like, I feel like he was saying it as a negative, like, you know, he didn't like that about her, that she was a little scared to do it. She's doing it. She is saying yes. She is going. She is trying it. Leave her alone. You know, I thought it was very interesting because Noe said that Steve makes her feel safe, secure, and loved. What woman does not want to be safe, secure, and loved? I thought that was wonderful. And oh my God. So I have taken swimming lessons before. I can swim underwater. I cannot swim like over water with the right breaststroke and everything like that. So I took swimming lessons as an adult. And the guy, it was so hard for him to teach me how to swim. He didn't teach me in the lesson. You know how you take 6-8 weeks or something like that? Yes. So I guess he was like, well, I want her to get something out of this. So that's what he taught me to do. Let me teach you how to float. And I thought it was nice that he kept her and held her even though the fish was biting him. And I think that's what made her feel safe, secure, and loved. So I thought that was, I love that interaction with them. So the next thing we see of them is we see them at dinner, and Noe determines that she wants 3 children.
Yes.
And she decided hers is 3, no matter what. I think that Chris said you want to have 2 and then see if you want the 3rd one. And I really liked how Steve said, hey, can you babysit that 3rd kid for me if I have to have it? You know, that was so cute.
That's right. Well, I don't know why 3 is her number, but if she wants 3, hey, brother, you know, make it happen.
This was very interesting because 3 is her number, right? But Lindsay and Mark, they agreed no 3. They could have 2 or they could have 4, but they could not have 3. Also at dinner, they talked about their differences in communication. So they talked about, and I really did like this conversation because Steve said that, you know, and basically I think he was responding to him not saying he loved her last week, but he was saying like, he is trying to let her know that even though he didn't say it, that, you know, he shows it, he holds her hand, he's affectionate with her, that he's showing her instead of saying it. But he realizes that she does need that too, which to me speaks to the differences in love languages because a lot of times you express yourself in the love language that you like, and not really in the love language that the person wants to receive it. So I was really glad that he was said, but you know, she does need to hear it. So the next couple is JASMINA and Michael. I actually don't think that JASMINA and Michael are gonna make it. I think that on decision day that they're not gonna make it, but I think that we're not gonna understand it, because I don't feel like they're showing enough of their journey for us to understand the demise of it. You know, like,
you know, when I look at a situation like that, a woman looks for a man to be a leader, okay? And I don't think that she wants to feel like she has to be his shrink, okay, in terms of that. And and it seems to me that this episode between JASMINA and Michael, you know, he's always telling her, people telling me that, I mean, she's feeling like, okay, I got to help correct this. I got, you know, I got to be your therapist in terms of this. I didn't sign up for this. I didn't sign up to be anyone's therapist. I want to be, you know, a wife, but I want to have a husband that's confident, that I feel confident about. I feel that, you know, he's confident. He knows where he wants our relationship to go, where he wants our family to go. She doesn't want to feel like she's with a husband that really doesn't even know himself.
yes, I think that he needs some serious counseling. I'm going to where they were talking in the rainforest, and last week we saw that he went through some harsh times when he was 6, and this time he again said that he got beat up when he was 6 years old. And I said in my last video that the age of 6 is a very critical point. It's a very critical time. If you go to counseling, they ask you what was going on in your life when you were 6, you know. So I mean, last week he talked about when he was 6, he saw his brother die. Now, I don't know if that was in the hospital or if his brother got shot. He didn't go into how his brother died, but he said he was there when he died, and he was 6. And that is just a lot of trauma to me for him. I think that he needs some professional in order to deal with that. And because it keeps coming out, and like you said, that may make her feel like a counselor. And then he was like, well, I think I need a hug. I'm like, yeah, you know, I don't know. I was just kind of weird.
It's like she said, you know, I feel like I'm dealing with damaged goods, and I don't know how to handle it, because I don't know where this is going, you know, because so it's going to be interesting. I think he's a good guy, but I do think that he needs some professional help to get him past you know, these bad experiences that he experienced during his childhood.
I mean, but we thought Zach was a good guy too, so, you know, hey.
Sometimes
they look that way, and they just turn out to be so different.
You can't judge a book by its cover. That's right.
Yeah. The next thing we saw with them is we saw the couple dates with OLAJAWON and KATINA. And then they had that interaction where they were saying they definitely could see why they were matched. They have a lot of commonalities, which was great, because that is one thing that the people have asked for from the experts. Could you match some people who got some things in common? And now we see them, and it's great. And I think the couples are appreciating that they have things in common with the other person. So I think that's good. But then JASMINA goes on to say that they're alike. And then she says that one way that they're not alike is that she can see both sides of the coins, and sometimes he can't. And then he makes the correction and says, I can say that too. I think that when you're in the beginning of a relationship, you don't always want to be on the opposite side of an opinion, you know. And I felt like he, you know, I don't know if it was him or her. I mean, I can understand what she's saying, because she feels like she can see both sides of the coin, which is why she apologized and said, if you felt that way. But he feels like he can see both sides of the coin, because eventually he just said, you know, I'm going to accept your apology if that's what you said. So I think I can see why they both say that, but you don't want to be, I don't know, I just feel like you got to have some common ground, and especially in the beginning when you're trying to develop that relationship. You don't always want to be, well, he saw the water blue, I saw it red, he saw it, you know, I don't know, I don't think that's really good.
Yeah, it's just going to be interesting to see how they work out. But one thing about it is, I think OLAJAWON and KATINA are good for them in terms of friends, because I think KATINA can bring in, because they talk, KATINA and JASMINA, they talk and talk. And when they talk, I think that JASMINA, when they talk, that she can get, KATINA can get JASMINA to lower her guards a little bit more and allow herself to be a little bit more vulnerable, and giving Michael more of a chance.
Well, I think that he was giving Michael a chance, but when you've been disrespected, he's yelled at you, you put that guard on, because unlike Noe, she does not feel protected, safe, and all this kind of stuff. And you only know me 3 days, and this is how you're already blowing up. So I think that I think that you can tell that she is guarded, because he said, like, this is the first time I seen her smile since our honeymoon,
Yeah, well, what she said, I'm so used to you telling me that I'm working on it. She said, you got to show me. So yeah, she's tired of the excuse, I'm working on it. She's tired of that. She said, no, I will believe you when you show me, not just because of what you said, but when I see your actions, that'll let me know. So yeah, I think that she's waiting to see that, because I think that she's waiting to see more evidence that he's the type of person that she wants to spend the rest of her life with.
So here we go. I don't even know where to start. So we start off with Alyssa and Chris, and we see Chris waking up in the morning, and he's waking up by himself, and he lets us know that Alyssa doesn't talk to him unless it's in the group setting or on camera, but he still wants to fight. And then you see Alyssa, who's all sunshine and rain, and she's like, it's a good day, and I'm still here, and I'm optimistic, and I'm gonna put my best foot forward. Did you have any opinions about that?
I'm trying to figure out what world is Alyssa living in. And you know what? What gets me, in fact, I went looking for it today. I was trying to figure out, I remember when they were first matching the couples, and they mentioned that Alyssa, if she wasn't left at the altar, she was engaged, and the guy just broke it off. What would have caused a person to do something like that? To her.
I hope they interview him. I hope somebody find him, because I really need to know what has she been like in a relationship when she likes the guy. I really want to know.
Because he already had the ring, correct? He already had the ring, and he had bought it a year ago, okay? And he was planning on giving it to her, but for some reason, he calls her. He doesn't even do it in person.
On his way home. It sounded like they were living together.
Okay, that might have been the case. But he calls her and just tells her it's over. I'm not coming back. It's over.
Remember, she said at the altar that she loves dogs more. She loves animals more than people. I can definitely tell that. You might be really good to them animals, because you are not. But I
guess she is, because she's treating Chris like a dog.
But you know what this reminds me of, and this reminds me of when you grow up in a household, and you're told what happens in this household stays in this household. Yes. And and then when you're in the household, there's just a lot of turmoil going on. Yes. But when you go to school, you're just like, no, it is great. Everything is fine in my house. Just like, I feel like, and that is what I feel like Alyssa is doing. Because I'm not sure if Alyssa realizes that every conversation is taped. So when she's outside talking to the producers and saying, you better show me in a good light and I'm a good person, I don't think she thinks that stuff is gonna be shown. But I don't know if she's watched the show before, because I feel like I'm seeing Dr. Jekyll and Dr. Hyde in one versus the other, because I think that she thinks that is not going to be shown when she's over there crying with the producers. And I'm sure the producers make you feel really good and comfortable, because they want you to talk to them and all this kind of stuff, Like the whole episode last week when she was saying her mom called, I don't think she thinks those things are going to be shown. Or does she forget that the camera is, because the camera is still there and it's still rolling.
Yes.
So I can't get into her mind as to what she thinks, but I really related to when you're told, because she keeps telling him, I want a united front. We need to be like we're together. You know, we need to be like one on this. And I think that's what you hear, you know, when people are in abusive homes and they, you know, they did what stays in this house stays, and when they go out, they are to look like everything is great when it's not. And I think that I ain't saying anything about her home because her mom seems very loving, but I think that she has that particular attitude that we need to put on a united front, you know, in front of the cameras, because the house really is falling down in the background, but we're not going to tell nobody about that.
And I can agree with that, because when we even told her mother on how things were going, she was upset about it. You know, I mean, she flew out. You told my mother about private stuff and stuff like that. I mean, she went off the handle. So I can agree with you on that. But, you know, when she looked at Chris, I mean, remember, they're talking on camera and stuff like that. And Chris is talking to some of the producers or something like that. And he's giving hand gestures. And she's talking, look how aggressive he is and stuff like that. They said he's just giving hand gestures, and she's calling it everything that she saw, because in her mind, as soon as she saw him and she said he didn't like him, nothing's good. Nothing, everything is bad.
He said on After Party that he doesn't even have her telephone number. He said that when they got married on Monday, you know, like that he asked her, you know, for a number. She said no, she'll get in touch with him if she needed. He said she does not talk to him when there's no cameras around. She said on the plane, she made sure that a producer sat by them so she wouldn't have to be with him and talk to him on the plane ride. So she literally has not given this man a chance. And the whole tennis thing, I mean, I think it was Pastor Cal who came on and said, we've been monitoring ALYSSA and Chris, and, you know, so basically they forced her to have that activity because she is not accepting any of the things that he is inviting her to. And so they forced her to have it. And then, so now they play tennis. You know, she came not really, you can tell she wasn't into it, but she's very competitive, because she was like, I'm gonna take off my shoes. I guess she said, because I am not getting the win.
That's right. And she said, I'm gonna beat you down. And he said that she beat his tail, right?
Yeah. And then you could tell when he said, do you want to sit down and talk? She didn't. That look on her face said, oh no, I'm done. I just came to play tennis and that's it.
Haven't you noticed I've been avoiding you?
So what do you think about their interaction on the bench? I think that he had it right when he said she is beginning to talk and use the word experience. Like she's checked out of the marriage and she doesn't want to be married at first sight anymore.
Of course.
But she wants to enjoy the experience. I love that he caught on to that. But what did you think about the interaction between them? And because he began to talk about them moving in together. And then when he said you got a decision to make, that just threw her over the rails. And then he also said that, well, when I started this, and she's just like, I don't want to hear that because you're saying that I didn't. What did you think about that interaction?
Well, you know, she only wants to hear what she wants to hear, okay? And if she can't keep it where she could put the positive spin, really, she doesn't want to hear anything he has to say, period.
True.
Okay? She has in her mind that she said, well, he's trying to make me look bad. There wasn't anything that he had done where he degraded her or said anything. In fact, he thinks that she's the perfect match for him.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So he says, if I have to treat her with kitten gloves, I will. You know, he says, I will, and stuff like that. All I just need to know is there an opportunity? Is there a chance for us? And she, I loved it when he asked her, when he just came back and asked her, she said that they weren't compatible. And she just said, name one reason. I mean, just name just one thing.
Yes.
She couldn't name one.
But the thing about it is, I think that a lot of people are like Alyssa in this respect, because she was offended when he said, well, basically he was saying, I committed to moving into the apartment. So yes. I feel like you see that a lot. So for example, I have employees. So I feel like if I'm like, oh, you know what, John, you did a really good job. Then Susie is like, well, she's saying I didn't. No, I'm not saying you didn't do a good job. Right now, I'm concentrating on John. And I feel like Alyssa does that same thing, but Alyssa, she does it differently, because she says, well, I can't speak for you. So she says the same thing that he's saying. She just does it in a different way by saying, well, I can't speak for you. And I don't think that he is saying you're not committed. He is just saying, well, when I came in, but he does think she's not committed. But when I came in to the experiment, this is what I agreed to do, and this is what I plan to do. And then for him to tell her, well, then it looks like you have a decision to make. That is not rude or disrespectful at all. Well, she act like that is rude and disrespectful. And then the other thing about that is that I'm glad that he spoke up and said, no, you can move in. They usually give them a 2-bedroom. So, last year, Brett and her husband, they slept in different rooms the whole time through the whole experiment. So, that's an option for her.
Right.
So then
she didn't want to be, but she said she did not want to be in the same room with that man. That's what she said. She told the producer, I don't feel comfortable being in the same room with this person, as though he's a danger.
Yeah. What did you think about her when she went over to the producers and was just like, it is not fair, because if they're having something and I'm just not going to be able to go, if they want to get together at the spur of the moment, and it's not fair that I can't be there when, I've worked hard for this experiment too, and I should be able to live in the apartment. What did you think about that?
Well, I like what they said. Do you know what show this is? This is married. You are married, and the apartment is for married couples. And it was kind of like, no, it's not. These are not single apartments. These apartments are for couples. Okay, so they were kind of like, I don't understand what you're saying. And then for her to come out there, well, okay, if that's the case, maybe you can spend 3 weeks there, and then I can spend, or 3 days there, whatever the case may be, when they're in the apartment, and then I'll spend, and I love Chris's comment. He says, that's news to me. This is the first time I heard about that, but no. And I truly love what Chris says. I like all of you, but I did not come here for you. I came here to be married. I came here to find my lifelong partner. Okay. And I liked him. He told everybody how he felt, but he said it in a very loving way. Mm-hmm. Everybody felt the same way. He just expressed it. Yeah. And then he put her on the spot, because he told her this. He says, if you just give me 1%, just one, I will, if there's a 1% chance that we can make it, if you just let me know that there's a 1% chance that we can make it, I will give 100%.
Yes, and I like that he said, so in that interaction, I like that he said, if you want to take it slow, I can go slow, because I'm in this forever. Yes. I love that line. Ooh. But I just thought she was a big baby. I think that she is used to getting her way when she throws a fit, because her whole thing is that in everything she says, I. You never hear about anybody else. And actually, she said, I don't really care about anybody else.
Yes,
she said that when she was talking to the producer. I don't care about anybody else.
That's right.
So it's just like, I'm and going back. So after they left the tennis court, then we see her with the producers when she says, I hate him. I'm like, wow, you hate him. Like that was, and then I applaud her mom, because I feel like her mom knows who she is, because she's all like, my mom is mad at me because she thinks I'm not being nice to Chris, which means that her mom knows that she can be mean and not nice. And she's not being nice to Chris, you know, and then she's like, that's not true. I'm the best person there ever was, you know, but I think, I mean, her mom has a lot of insight. I mean, that is her daughter, and moms usually know their daughters. And she also had said earlier that her and her mom are really close. So I think that Alyssa is not being nice to Chris, and I don't think that her mom is gonna like it when she sees this show. And I think she knows her daughter, but she is not acting. She is not acting. What we're seeing from Alyssa is literally who she is, because when Chris was talking to his sister said, well, her mom says that she cries a lot. Like, she named 3 things that the mom said at the wedding about Alyssa. And that is what we're seeing. We're seeing exactly what the mom said to them at the wedding of how she is. She cries a lot and all, you know, has to have her way or whatever. That is who she, so, I mean, I give it to Alyssa, because she is not acting. She is being who she is, whether we like it or not. And she is really interested in her image, not knowing that they're rolling the tape. And I bet you somebody is going to do a compilation of every time Alyssa said, I'm a good person. Somebody is going to put that together. So we're going to end up seeing that. In production just might do that in the end. I don't think that Alyssa is going to make it through the whole experiment. And I don't think that Alyssa is going to come to decision day. And I think that Alyssa is going to have to pay back the $50,000 or $58,000 or however much it is. But I think she has the money in order to do it. So I think that once she just figures out that, I hope they don't let her move into the apartment. Because personally, I feel like if she didn't really say anything about it and make it an issue, that she could have moved in the apartment. Because we see that Paige moved into the apartment by herself and Chris never came.
Yes, she did.
But you know what? I will say this, which this is what we don't know, because Chris said, you know, either I'm in or I'm out.
Yes.
And the thing about Chris and Paige on their season, Chris said several times that Paige was calling him, asking him to continue to film. So I feel like maybe that was the thing, because Paige moved into the apartment, and as long as she can engage him to film a couple of times, then she's still a part of the show. But once both parties, because we've seen a couple of people, there was another guy a season before, he never moved into the apartment, but he kept filming. So I think that it's if they decide, you know, she doesn't want me, and I think that if she says that she doesn't want him and she wants a divorce, I think that that lets him out of his portion of the contract. So now he wouldn't have to pay, he wouldn't have to continue to film, and he could just go on with his life. I'm not sure, but that's what it sounds like, because he's trying to make her say that, get that decision, and so that he can be either all in or all out. So I'm really interested to see how this plays out, and I hope they tell us the behind the scenes thing. Somebody does an article or something to tell why is it like this, because why she won't say it. It was so funny when Elijah once said, she talking about she want to go home. What degrees is it up there?
Yeah. You don't want to go home there. She knows how cold it is in Boston. That's right.
And then the last thing we see for them is them having their silent conversation with the producers there, and you know, her going off because he kind of held her to the carpet. So did you have anything else about that, or anything else about Alyssa and Chris?
Well, I just thought that she was saying he held her to the carpet or something like that, but no, he was just being completely honest. And Alyssa, she's just not honest. She should have told him in the beginning why she didn't feel that they were compatible, and just being very honest with him, so that, okay, you know, they could go forth, but they could go forward. But I don't know how it would work out, but she just hasn't been honest. And he's been trying to force her to say it because he already knows how she felt. He already knows that she checked out. He believed she checked out right after the wedding. He believed that right now, but she would never say it. Now, why she won't say it, I don't know. I guess she thinks that if I say it, they're going to charge me to whatever, 50,000. I don't know, but she won't say it.
I think that Alyssa is really, really good with words because, and I think that Alyssa is the definition of gaslighting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I would think I was crazy if I was Chris, because she says when he's being disrespectful, he's mean. Who would allow somebody to treat a lady like this? Because he asked you a question that went wrong. Like, I feel like she uses all the trigger words, and she's talking about him assassinating her character. I feel like she is assassinating his character by the words that she is using. And every time she does it, it just digs at my heart. Well, it's obvious that they're not going to make it unless Alyssa's mom can get to her and help her baby just turn it around, because like Chris said to his sister, and you know, the mom, the dad, and all the friends said that he is a good fit. But one thing I wish that Chris would do is when she says we're not compatible, I wish he would say, no, I think we are. I think we are. I think we have a lot in common. I think, you know, I wish that he would challenge her every time she says it. I wish he would say, no, I disagree with that. I think we are compatible. And this is why, or whatever however he wants to phrase it. But a lot of times when she says something, he's just quiet. And I wish he would, you know, counter that. Like when she says, well, we both don't want to move in. No, I do want to move in with you.
I heard him say that when they were on the beach and stuff like that, he thought she was a real nice, you know,
yes,
and stuff like that. I think he basically showed that he really liked her.
Well, that is the end of the couples review. At the end of each episode, I always give my family fuel that they can use, which is somehow where they can connect this episode or something that we got from the episode to lead them to spiritual truth. So do you have a fuel for the week that they can use from this episode to carry us to the next?
I think I'm looking at the couple, Alyssa and Chris, and I think honesty. Honesty, I believe, on Chris's part, I think he was honest about his feelings in terms of a future wife. I think he was honest about what depths he would go to win Alyssa's heart. And so I think it's a show about honesty, and on Alyssa's part, I think it's a show of dishonesty by her not being truthful about her feelings to Chris, which is the most important person that she should be truthful to, has caused her to continue to build up false walls and build up false dams that's stopping her from crossing over to a pleasant or happy ending. And I think that's due to her dishonesty.
Awesome. Well, my fuel that they can use is, in the Bible, it talks about how we are beautifully and wonderfully made. God made us beautiful and wonderful. And you may be facing something in your life where you're not accepted. And if it is because of your looks or the way God made you, I just want everyone to know, as you go on about your week, that you are beautifully and wonderfully made by God. Well, that puts this episode in the books. Thank you, John, so much for being here with us tonight. We cannot wait to see what happens on the next episode. And please like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, live with intention. Be intentional.